Well, a very good evening to you. Thanks for clicking onto the long range for this evening. It's basically take two, folks. Unfortunately, I was actually very pleased with the video I got on earlier on this afternoon. It took 2 to 3 hours to upload, and then, of course, around 1 minute and 25 seconds into the video, the sound cut off. So pretty typical, but unfortunately, that's something we'll have to put up with now and again. But certainly we have a very exciting pattern coming up, folks. There's no question about that. We have got what has been a very dominantly positive Arctic oscillation. What that means is, of course, we've had bottled up cold over the pole, and of course a very strong free-flowing west to east mid-latitude jet stream, which has, of course, kept the continents overall pretty mild. But we are seeing changes taking place. We are seeing the Arctic oscillation starting to flip negative. Probably a reason for that has been the stratosphere, 10 millibars. For you weather experts out there, the 10 millibar temperature is something that we watch. Which is around the stratosphere. Basically, you've got the tropopause, and then you've got the stratosphere above that, way up, high up in the atmosphere. And when you tend to see the stratosphere warm over the pole, that transfers all that cold, both from the upper levels down to the surface, as well as that it heads southwards and spills Arctic air into the mid-latitudes of the world, or the northern hemisphere, should I say. What's interesting is the fact that we've seen a very, very persistent positive Arctic oscillation. What that means is, for me, is the fact that we've seen such a dominantly positive, and strong polar vortex over the pole. And of course, the longer it stays over that region, folks, the perfect environment, low sun angle, and of course that helps to build very, very cold temperatures in this region. But once you spill that air south, very potent, very intense, and what we're seeing is that Asia, eastern parts of Asia, looks as if it's going to be in for very cold weather. It has been pretty cold across parts of China, the Koreas, Japan, places like that. But it looks as if we've got a building of that cold. That Arctic air is going to spill southwards, and it will be very, very cold. That Arctic oscillation starting to flip more negative is allowing that cold. We're also seeing a positive PNA, a Pacific North America pattern. What that means is, folks, that instead of having that trough over Alaska damming up the cold, stopping it from going southwards, has been blocking that southward progression of the Arctic air over North America. What we're going to be seeing is a trough east of Hawaii, a ridge building up the western part of North America. And as that ridge builds and pumps that warm air northwards into Alaska, all that frigid air, folks, has got to go somewhere. And where that's going to go is southwards, down the spine of North America. Canada is going to fill with frigid air by mid to late next week. And, of course, that will eventually spill into the United States. Very, very cold air mass looks to be certainly on the cards for North America, and particularly down into the United States by later next week. But as you pump that ridge of high pressure, you force that warm air up. It basically enhances the jet stream, because of course you're bumping that warm air up against the very frigid air, and of course the jet stream becomes buckled as it reaches into the high latitudes, forcing the cold air southwards. The stronger the jet stream, the stronger that northwest flow, the faster that cold air is going to go south and southeastwards. And of course, the faster it goes southeastwards, the less it's going to moderate. And it's going to be a very, very interesting pattern, both for Asia coming up in the next few days, as well as North America next week. Now, as for the UK, Ireland and western parts of Europe, folks, I urge you to pay attention to the North Atlantic Oscillation. That is important. The reason being is, folks, that unless that positive North Atlantic Oscillation can flip negative, therefore allowing the building of high pressure over the North Atlantic and Greenland, we will struggle to see that Arctic air, albeit we're seeing it in many parts of the Northern Hemisphere. Folks, there's a lot of winter still to come. Do not rule out winter, and certainly it would be pretty delusional, I think, to suggest that we aren't going to see much in the way of cold across the hemisphere over the next several weeks, because the pattern is looking very, very exciting indeed. We have got a lot of cold air. That Arctic Oscillation being positive for so long has meant that really we need to be concerned as to just how powerful the Arctic air masses are going to be once they reach the mid-latitudes. And I believe Asia will be the first place to see that, then North America, and then parts of Europe as well. But what I'm interested in seeing is, well, as that Arctic air floods the United States, and we're going to see a very large trough covering almost coast to coast, what I'm interested in seeing is, as that progresses eastwards into the eastern United States, very cold air, very frigid air, is that, of course, going to then pump a North Atlantic ridge and then suggest that a North Atlantic Oscillation would be in a positive state. Therefore, if we did see that ridge of high pressure over the North Atlantic, that would suggest a trough to the east of that, and of course east of that would be here across the UK, Ireland and western parts of Europe. Lots to talk about, lots to continue to keep tracking. I suggest you keep following. Please, I encourage your suggestions and your comments on the Facebook page, and let's see what happens over the next few weeks. A very interesting pattern for sure, folks. Keep checking back for the latest updates. Bye for now.